Yes.
He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them.
As far as his judgments, they have not known them. They didn't even know them. Now, the only people that knew the word of the Most High, that received the statutes and judgments of Yahweh, is Israel. Yahweh said no one else does. But the most read book in the entire Gentile Bible is the book of Acts. And I'm going to take you to the book of Acts because everything in Acts contradicts the word of Yahweh, and it also contradicts the words of the other apostles. Let me show you. Let's go to Acts 2nd chapter. And while you're looking it up, let me tell you a little story. Do you know in the New Testament it says that God is not the author of confusion? I agree. And if he's not the author of confusion, he could not be the author of the New Testament. Because the New Testament is a book full of confusion. Where do you think all the various churches get their origin at? The New Testament. The Baptist, Methodist, Unitarian, Episcopalian, Seventh-day Adventist, Jehovah's Witness, Pentecostal. All of these churches get their origin out of the New Testament. One church teaches that you must be baptized in the name of Christ, and it's in there. Another one teaches that you must be baptized in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, and it's in there too. One teaches that you must speak in tongues. It's in there. And the other one says you should not speak in tongues. It's in there. One says that you have to keep the law. It's in there. Another one said that the law is done away with. It's in there also. One said that you have to be circumcised. It's in there. The other says that circumcision profits nothing. It's in there also. One says you have to keep all the laws of Yah. The other one said you don't have to keep any laws of Yahweh. One says that you can't wear a hat in church. The other one said it's okay. One says a woman should not teach. The other one said there's no difference between male and female. All of this confusion is in this book. And according to the book of Acts, guess when they first received the gift of the Holy Ghost? Let me tell you about something. There's a church today. We call it a cult because all of the churches of Christianity are cults. Whether they were Baptist, Methodist, Unitarian, Episcopalian, Seventh-day Adventist, Jehovah's Witness, they were all started by a man or a woman. They were all cults. None of them can say that this is a church that started in the book of Genesis. And this is the church that's written all through the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, as I can say about the house of Israel. None of them can say that. They were all started by men and women. And most of them were started by Gentile men and women. And Yah said he only gave his word to Israel. Let me tell you about a church. The newest church, the newest denomination of Christianity that hadn't been long on this earth. They're even younger than the Jehovah's Witness. They're even younger than the Seventh-day Adventists. They're called the Pentecostal Church. Did you know that? And I'm going to show you how backwards this church is in their teaching. This Pentecostal church teaches that they call themselves Pentecostal because of the Hebrew festival the Feast of Weeks. And Pentecost means 50. And they say that was the number of days that constituted the Feast of Weeks. And it was a Hebrew holy day that Yahweh gave to Israel, and no other people could celebrate these holy days, such as the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Passover, the Feast of Weeks, the Feast of Tabernacle, and the Feast of Trumpets. The only people that could celebrate these holy days was the house of Israel, and a foreigner that had joined himself unto the house of Israel. And once any foreigner joined to the house of Israel, they had to keep all of the same laws, statutes, and covenants that we did. Now, these Pentecostal churches, some of them believe in keeping the Sabbath day, some of them don't. Some of them believe in eating clean, some of them don't. But let me tell you what no Pentecostal church believe in. No Pentecostal church believe that there's only one Yahweh and that he is one. They all believe that it's a trinity or a dualship, and that there's two, and that there's the Father and the Son, and there's the Father, Son, or the Holy Ghost. None of them believe that there's Yahweh and him alone, as he is stated all through the book. And let me tell you something else they don't believe in. I don't care what Pentecostal church it is, whether it's white, whether it's black, whether they call themselves Hebrew Pentecostal, Apostolic Pentecostal, whatever they call themselves, they don't believe in circumcision. And that's what's required to keep any of the feast days of Yah. In order to be joined to the house of Israel, you had to be circumcised. And they don't believe in that. So these are not the people that have joined themselves to the house of Israel. Remember, they cannot go out separately, independently, and start a church of their own. They had to be part of the assembly of Israel and subjugate themselves to the laws of our kings, our prophets, and our priests. Not so today. And these people that call themselves Pentecostals, they say they got the gift of the Holy Ghost. Now I'm going to show you what they says. We're going to start reading Acts, the 2nd chapter, the first verse, and we're going to read this chapter, and we're going to show you why they claim they speak in tongues, and why they claim they have the gift of the Holy Ghost, and why they claim that they are part of this same church that was in the scriptures, even though they just started their religion just a few years ago out in California. I think it was called Kalamazoo or something like that, and they started the Pentecostal church. And we're going to read about it and see if the experience that these disciples experience is similar to that which you and many of the people that call themselves Pentecost are a recipient of this day. Let's start reading.